poor diet is linked to 22% of all deaths.
Many of the foods and beverages that we intake in that ultra-processed category, not all, but many, are toxic. They are pro-inflammatory, and we're not doing much about that. And in fact, the US and then the UK are the two worst countries in the world for consumption of these foods and beverages. We do know that there's a diet that, through randomized trials and very impressive prospective studies, the Mediterranean diet, that has reduced cardiovascular disease substantially, as well as made a dent in cancer.
Okay, I'm no dietitian, I'm no food specialist, food scientist, etc. But when I watch videos like that, I'll be open and completely transparent, right? It frustrates me a little bit. It does, because here I am with a condition that stops me from having a Mediterranean diet. It's not an option for me. And where the frustration part comes in is that I've also got the mindset and just, I don't know what it is. I've got something that enables me to stick to a diet, right? Though it's not been, amazingly brilliant in the past, now I'm a different human being. I know that if I had a normal human body, I would be able to stick to a Mediterranean diet or any form of diet, healthy living, and it wouldn't be that much of a problem. Not everyone's in that situation. I feel very fortunate that's the case. But what I've come to learn is that the PKU diet is kind of processed, right? There's been calls at numerous events that I've been to for food manufacturers to start looking into ways of reducing the amount or just reducing how heavily processed they are. I'm not a food scientist. I'm not a dietitian. I don't know how these things work. So this is my perspective, right? However, can they make it any better? I don't think they can. I don't think they can. How can, and maybe someone in the comments can tell me here, right? How can you take a food and remove an amino acid, Phe, that we cannot tolerate, and then produce a food without that in it and give it to a human to consume and have it not be processed? It is processed, right? It has to be processed. Now, what I don't know is, by taking an amino acid out, do you have to add stuff to it so it is still bound together and still can be consumed? If you are creating, foods from scratch, well, it is processed, isn't it? Because you're creating it from scratch. You're using particular methods and particular ingredients and to bind it together so it can last. That the only way you can take a PKU patient, young or old, and move them from a very heavily processed food diet to a more healthier way is through medication. I'm not knocking anyone. I'm not knocking the food production companies. Listen, the truth of the matter is, I've got to this age because of the foods and the protein supplements and all the different factors that's been put into this diet. I've got here because of that. I guess though, we've got to a point, haven't we, in some respects, where it's been successful. We're now at a place where we're not surviving, we're kind of thriving. I feel like then we need support, and production needs to maybe evolve and change along with it. But I feel like I've said, medication probably is the only answer, because I know from being on ciprofloxacin, the more that has come into my life and had an effect, and I'm incredibly grateful for it, the more I've been able to let go of some products and include others. Now, very thankful, sitting at 30 grams of protein from food and 80 from a supplement. Like I said, extremely grateful. However, I've worked out that if I was on, I don't know, 40, 50 grams maybe, then there are definitely foods that I would be able to include in my diet that I can't now because they're a little bit too high, that from a nutrition and health perspective would be much better for me. So if I had a higher tolerance, I could include a healthy fat in my diet, which is great, right? But there are also food products like fish, etc., that I would have to be really careful with, but I could probably have small amounts of. The frustration part is that I want the change, but I can't control it. And no matter how much I want it, it's not accessible. Now, there'll be people here watching saying, well, you've got a lot, and I do. I'm so bloody fortunate. I'm in a country where it's treated. I'm in a country and a clinic where I get a lot, and I'm so bloody thankful for it. And there are others across the world that just battle just to get these heavily processed, low protein foods, right? But I think that's where it kind of needs to change. There are there are medications now that are coming through that do have an impact. Some of them not so much, because some people's tolerance is so low that it just doesn't work for them. But new medications are coming through. The fact is going to be, regardless if we like it or not just if it works for us, but costs and how they are going to package that around how to determine whether or not if it's effective or not for a person. So I feel like the diet is heavily processed, but I feel like we're never really going to be able to step away from that until more medications are filtered throughout the community that work well enough. So if you're like me and you watch these videos and podcasts and you're trying to live a healthier life, it feels like there are limitations. We can only go, it seems, so far before the nutrition side stops us from progressing. Oh, it's so frustrating. But the positive side of this is that there are so many measures that we can control, and implementing those in our life make a big difference. They do. They make a ginormous difference. Also, there are medications coming through. It feels like to me I've seen more development in the last 7 to 8 years than I've seen throughout my whole life. So if that continues to progress, then I feel that's wonderful. I'm really interested to know what the impact of that will be for us moving forward. And if I had a young child, I'd feel quite positive based on the progression and where this is going. Yeah, I just wanted to put this video together really, just to kind of see and share my thoughts around it all, and what your thoughts are on it too, because that video stemmed a whole set of thoughts off in my head, a mixture of feelings, a mixture of frustration, a mixture of hope, a mixture of I wish, and what are your thoughts on it? Give it a little comment in the video and let us know what you think. Do you feel this diet is heavily processed? How do you see that fundamentally changing, and can it? What are your thoughts on it? And thank you for being a part and subscribing, sharing your thoughts and watching my videos as well. It means a lot.